talking about
how coffee's sort of changed the kind of people in it and the way it's seen in mainstream.
we're trying to we're just trying to talk about like our brand, what it is that we're trying to do, and then we're here. It makes a lot of sense.
We're here in the Algarve and we wanted Beanie Bunch originally to be part of this, like nature, enjoying life, enjoying coffee as part of the fun and freedom of life, I guess.
Yeah, which is like, for me, it's what it's always been about. Like coffee. Coffee was always something that accompanied my life in an artistic and scientific and fascinating kind of journey of a way. It's not about looking a certain way or acting a certain way or being cool or fitting in. It's always kind of been the opposite. It's about like not really fitting in and not following the grain.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of more like when I first started six years ago or so. It was more like not the underworld, but like the under side of society. Like you had these people who were cared and passionate about sensory, and they weren't bothered to be mainstream, and it wasn't like the Starbucks and the big coffee brands, and they were going against the grain of what everyone thought was the right way to drink coffee at the time.
Also because you worked in Germany too,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's like you accept a lower wage
Yeah.
in order to kind of pursue a lifestyle that brings you more joy and freedom. Kind of like.
Yeah, like, and I fell into it. So it wasn't like something that in Europe you wanted to be. It was like, oh, I want to be into this. It's like I kind of fell into it, and it's like, oh, this is cool. Like, not many people are into this, and then you get to know the people who are, and it's really interesting, and everyone wants to get this tiny little taste gains, and they're interested about all these different ways of doing it, and it becomes this sort of like lifestyle in a fun, interesting, creative way, and not a trying to be someone in society that's better than the rest.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it has, but I've seen a shift lately in having the best coffee gear or going to the best coffee shops is more like a statement of who you are,
Right.
than just a fun creative pursuit by an individual who finds other individuals the same.
Yeah. So it's become like more of a prestigious, it's kind of been a cool thing. You're talking about the brands, right? Like Gucci coffee.
Yeah, brands and stuff like
High fashion.
Arabica, and it's like it's a place to Instagram now. It's a place to show yourself in a place what is deemed cool in society. Like I've been here, I drink coffee from this place. I drink now the best microlots and the best geishas because I know this.
I mean, like, I feel like that is a natural progression of something that's kind of being discovered and accepted by mainstream a little bit more. Like, and I do think it's kind of important somehow. It's like we have those big brands that are stating these things, but also I think the big problem with this then is that like when the mainstream sees it as like a big brand, the essence, which is always something that can't really be quantified, or like the essence of it, like, which for me it's been exactly this. It's been like the essence is when you have one person who is so fascinated and obsessed that that's what they dedicate their time or a bulk or even just like a smallish amount, like a hobby, right, of their time, of their energy towards this craft. And yeah, you can't really show that in a reel. Like you can't show that in like a fancy billboard. It's like you can only taste it, and you can only taste it in the small moments. It's also like, this is also why I think like when we teach, or like when I teach, I think you're very similar though. There's like this idea that we have to get the people that we're teaching to fall in love. You know, like that's the ticket. It's like if I can impart this little spark of like interest into that person, then they don't need me anymore, right? And they don't need a teacher. It's like I've given you this little flame. Now it's now if you so accept, this flame can grow into like a big roaring fire that will basically follow you for the rest of your life, make you a far better person, make the world a far better place, because you've caught a glimpse of that essence. It's not about being hip, it's not about being cool, it's not about fitting in, it's about falling in love with the process of life through the senses of the mouth and nose if we're talking
Yeah.
about coffee,
I
right?
was just gonna say it's almost like I think of it like a love story.
Yeah.
That like sort of grows,
Yeah,
and your passion and the love grows, because like I remember when I first got into it, it was like, whoa, what's this? And you have all this excitement, giddiness that you do in the start of like something new, like new love, and you search for more, and you're searching for different coffee shops, or you stumble across something, and it's like this sort of real like cool moment where you're like, oh, I found this and went in, and these people super interested, and we got chatting, and I tried this coffee, and every experience of it is heightened because of all those little parts of it. It's not like what I'm guess I'm scared of it, not scared of, but not wanting to become. It's just this like you go somewhere to get something and drink it and leave. There's none of that mysteriousness, that search, that love, that intrigue to follow a story that keeps on growing and growing and growing.
Yes.
Like when I was first living in London, for example, these coffee shops were obscure. They were in places where you didn't know. You'd have to go off the beaten track to find them.
Yeah.
And it made it interesting, and it made it different. And you had to sort of like not know, but you had to like search, and you had to really want to do it.
Yeah.
Where now you find a lot more of these stores are like big, good branded, right on the main streets, like really obvious, really set up for Instagram or social media, and they're not these little cute things that you have to find and fall in love with, and then share that story with others who have the passion that then go on their own adventure.
Yeah, I feel
It's like every Tom and Harry and Jill have been to this place because it's there.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me it's like this little change, it's just a little different. And it's kind of nice down here still in the Algarve, because there's a few places, but there is also these few places where you have to search and you can find, because it's not so mainstream yet.
Well, I mean, I think like it's inevitable, like it's becoming. Last year we had maybe 3 or 4 shops, now we've got like 7. Right, so it's like it's growing, but I mean, like, I think for me there's also one thing that I feel like is our responsibility as like coffee educators or people that are trying to promote this thing in the world. It's like, from a business perspective, when you nourish your team and like when you nourish your baristas to enable them to kind of grow that fire that I was talking about, your coffee is way better, right? It's like, I feel like a lot of the time the people that we work with think that it's like this like copy and paste formula, and you just like slap it on like the wall or something, and they can read it. Follow a
system and it's good every time, or it's the same every time.
And also just trying to squeeze just trying to get everything that we can out of like I don't know, it's like again, coffee is a journey, it's an art form, and if you have someone that's really into it, it's incredibly rare, and in a sense that's what we should be aiming for, like as business owners and as baristas and as people that work with coffee, like even if you're in the kitchen or front of house, it's like that love and that respect for this artisanal product that has traveled across the world is so, I don't know, it's so important. But I think also, like we were talking down here, we live here in this beautiful place, Burgau. It's like, it's time to go. It's like, most people move here because they want to enjoy their lives, right?
Yeah.
Because like the Algarve is like this incredible place where people come to on their summer holidays, and then at one stage in their life they're sick of only having a week or 2 a year of holiday, and they decide they want to move here. And so it's like we have this very interesting kind of opportunity here where everything's a little bit like 10, 20 years in the past, right?
And then you get all these different people come over here from all over the world. So it's not Algarve, Portugal. It's mixed in with everyone else from Europe and the world. Like,
which
it's
also
multicultural.
is different clientele as well. So there is this unique opportunity here where we have a huge amount. Look, it's a crab. Oh, it's gone. Where we have like a huge amount of foreign interest and coffee culture. So we have like there's
lots
a
of
big
different
demand
coffee
for it
cultures
here, which is quite interesting. Yeah. But anyway, should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Coffee thoughts.
Coffee thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. Love you. Bye.
Ciao.
Don't forget to visit us in the Algarve.